Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Cruel and Beautiful, Eye of the Dragon, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. One Punch Man Season 2 is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen a show go from being like a 10 out of 10, like, greatest of all time, to being like such a poorly produced mess. Now, that isn't to say that I didn't enjoy One Punch Man Season 2. Like, as I was like watching this season, it kind of dawned on me just how like I've dropped shows that were like way better presented than this and way better made because due to not meeting my standards, and it kind of made me wonder why I was sticking with it so much. Because I think because the first season was so good, because like the core characters and the core cast and like the formula of like what One Punch Man should be was established so well with that first season. Like even just watching this incredibly subpar second season where everything went wrong, I found myself thinking that like, that's interesting. That's a good way to handle it. That's a good development for that character. This is interesting. Um, like I still very much found myself invested. Because like again the first season was so well produced and so well executed, like a legit 10 out of 10 anime, that even with this production I just found myself completely invested in it. Now, I don't think I'll be watching season 3. I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to transfer over to the manga and just read that. I feel as if like fundamentally the second season of One Punch Man has all of the ideas that should have worked, but just had an incredibly incompetent, incapable production team behind them. Because like there are all these weird problems with like the animation and the pacing. Like jokes aren't told correctly, fights don't look good. Um, like there are all these weird cuts between like all this fight. Like there's all this shit going on. Like I swear there's like three arcs going on at the same time. Like you have the Garrow thing. You have like the human monster going around fighting humans. You have like the Monster Association going around and trying to like cause trouble for the heroes. And you have like Saitama just dicking around in a martial arts tournament for some reason. I legitimately don't understand why he was there. I don't understand what he was meaning to accomplish. Like I don't understand what his goal was. Because like they did such a bad job just building up this idea of just like of building up this plot, right? This entire plot is like like a Frankenstein concoction of just stitched together plots that don't make any sense. Like you have like all these heroes just fighting the monsters, and like you see things like Watchdog Man in his like hilarious little Watchdog Plaza. Like he's like the Hachiko statue. He's just like standing there on his like pedestal, like just like a statue, just sitting there. It's hilarious. Um, like monsters show up. The scene cuts away to like something like Satama's doing, and then it cuts back, and then like Watchdog Man is like standing on like the corpses of all the monsters that attacked his plaza, which is which I think if it was handled by the original studio, they would have made that work. Made it look awesome. They would have made it look funny. They would have made it look cool. They would have like done all sorts of things to really sell you on this idea that like, oh man, Watchdog Man is that's a character to keep your eye on. Like we were seeing situations like Genos going up against Garo, or like the character of King being established, or like Fubiki being introduced, Blizzard. Like all these characters that seem like they have really interesting character arcs and motivations and skill sets and abilities and just personalities and relationships with other characters and fights with other characters that should have been interesting, that should have been engaging, that really should have kept me invested just as much in the original show. But that never really happened. That never really happened. Like they botched everything. You can see just how much soul went into like these characters and like their philosophies and their ideas and just just like how it's supposed to happen, but the animation is so poor, generally speaking, that it doesn't really sell the idea at all. Like when I'm seeing like Metal Bat, I think fight for the first time. I think he was involved in the fight with the clay alien at the end of part one, at the end of season one. But like I think he just hit a couple of things. They didn't really go into like what his skill set was. They really try going into his character a little bit more in this season, where they kind of treat him like he's like the protagonist of like a delinquent manga, like some like they treat him like they really do sell this idea that this guy is like an S class hero. Like he immediately goes to fight this giant centipede thing that he's probably not a very good match for. Like he fights Garo, and like it really does sell you on this idea that like this character is like dynamic. This character has a lot going on. This character has like a history, like a legacy, like a fighting career. Like he'd probably be my favorite hero, assuming that like One Punch Man was real. Like it's so much better than like what My Hero Academia does with like its whole like, oh man, Deku, you're in high school, you're in your first year in high school, but you're already better than like the top 10 heroes in the world. Bullshit, like complete nonsense. Like I hate that shit. So, uh, like the monster designs in season two are just as good. Like I think they're just again like but they're just copying them from like the manga. So that's not really a thing. Like they have some good shots, they have some good angles, they have some good ideas. They have good monster designs. They have good character concepts. They have good character motives. They have like a good setup for a plot, but they just don't execute it correctly. In fact, they fail so hard at that like everything that could have been great in this series, from like the martial arts master being like humbled by Saitama and like really working to really deciding to like turn his life around and really put effort into his skills and learning to like be a hero in his own right, like learning that he himself is not unstoppable. Like that could have been a good character arc. Seeing Garo and like going through his background of like his like being a kid and just being bullied for liking monsters, and like really going through that process of like becoming a monster, like what really drives him to do that could have been interesting, like introducing us to characters like Watchdog Man, like Metal Bat, like Super Alloy, like Blackluster Alloy, like what do they call that guy, um going into characters like that, going into characters like Bang, like his brother, like the samurai. Oh yeah, another thing I really like about the season, the first season did this too. Like this isn't anything new with season two. If I praise anything in season two, generally speaking, like the original season did it way better. But like one of the things that really made me love season two, in spite of all of its problems, is that it did indeed expand on the concepts that the original introduced. Like namely the fact that the heroes are all complete characters in their own right, with their own backgrounds, their own associations, and their own sort of like community, their own like Batman style, like the Bat family, right? Like you know how Batman's part of the Justice League, but he also has his own sidekicks. Like he has Robin, he has Batgirl, he has Alfred. Like you have groups like the Order of the Blade, like Atomic Samurai. Like he has all these like master swordsmen at his beck and call, one of whom tries to betray them. Like he has his subordinates, like all of them who look completely differently and seem to have their own things going on. Like you have like Bang and his disciples, and like you have like the whole martial arts community, which is like which kind of emphasizes that there are a lot of people outside the Heroes Association who are just as capable of of being heroes and doing things and fighting monsters and stuff like that, but like choose to do so for a whole range of reasons. Not necessarily because they're bad people usually, but because like the world is like a huge, complex place. And I love that about the world of One Punch Man. Like I cannot stand that bit in like My Hero Academia where like everything is about like, oh man, I'm gonna be the best hero because that's the only thing you can do with your quirk in My Hero Academia, basically, right? Like you can only be a hero. No, no. Like this one expands. Like there are a lot of different aspects to the world that cross over into hero work. You have like samurai, you have ninja, you have like these robots, you have the martial arts world. Like, there's all this stuff going on that can just really develop these characters in unique, interesting ways. I loved that. Like, I thought that was spectacular. Like, I think that's the thing that really makes me invested in One Punch Man more than anything. Is just like just seeing how much one deeply values the side characters. Like it's like the opposite of like what Dragon Ball does with like Yamcha, right? Like any character that isn't Goku or Vegeta is like irrelevant in Dragon Ball, right? But like in One Punch Man season 2, like you really get the impression that all the heroes, except Saitama, but we'll get to that. All the heroes are going out doing their best to really keep the monster problem under control. And that leads to like ego problems, that leads to infighting, that leads to like character drama, and I love it. I am all over that stuff. It is fantastic, wonderful. Okay, so that's how I feel about that. But the flip side of like the problem with that, uh, with season 2, like this is kind of a double-edged sword kind of thing. Expanding the side characters so much is wonderful, legit great, but this season really, really failed to sell us on this idea that this was a show about Saitama, like the One Punch Man. Like the entire thing feels like the show isn't even about him. Like this entire arc, this entire season is just him like dicking around this martial arts competition, which again has nothing to do with the wider plot of the monsters attacking the city. Like that's what I would have done. It's just like make a good martial arts tournament arc, make it funny, make it interesting, like for the first 3 episodes or so, and then like go on to the monster invasion arc and really focus on that. Really sell us on that. There's too much shit going on. First of all, like that's the first problem with this arc. But when it comes to the martial arts tournament specifically, when it comes to Saitama, like nothing he does in this arc is relevant until like maybe the very end, where I don't think he suits up at all until like episode 9 or something, and then he like immediately dispatches like a dragon type monster, a dragon threat monster, and then goes after another dragon threat monster that Genos couldn't beat, and things like that. Like it's like the entire season is an episode from the first season where like something happens, um, other heroes fight the monster, they fail, and then like Saitama kind of shows up and puts a stop to it like immediately, and like when they draw the formula out this much, like it feels like it almost doesn't work. It feels almost like they didn't do a very good job like really thinking through like this concept. Like how exactly do you have this world where you have an overpowered superhero and still have conflict, right? Like because that was kind of the fundamental aspect that like One Punch Man was built on, was like, okay, like how do we make a story where you can make an overpowered character interesting? And when it comes to One Punch Man, it's season 1 did a great job of that. I think of just really subverting your expectations and making it entertaining and making it funny and making it like surprisingly heartfelt and intense. Right? Like it was really really well made, but season 2 doesn't have that same appeal. Like it doesn't even come close. Like Gagetsu, they spent so much time building up this character. Like, oh man, he was the former champion of the martial arts world. He left and became a monster, and now he's a dragon type creature. And Saitama just rips his head off. Like they don't even show it. Like that's a problem with this season in general. Is that like they don't show fights, and if they do, they suck. Uh, They really could have made Yoketsu interesting. They really could have made like the martial arts thing interesting, but they just didn't. It was just a complete waste of time. I would have preferred focusing entirely on like one thing or the other, the martial arts tournament or the monster invasion thing, or Garo, I suppose. Like doing all those things at once, like it got cluttered, it got confused, and like honestly, I don't even think the creators had any idea what was going on until like the end, where they finally managed to tie everything together in like the most unsatisfying way possible. Like, oh man, we're gonna go away. We're gonna take Garo and we're gonna go. Like, okay, okay, that's super lame, like unbelievably lame. Yeah, but it says a lot about the quality of like the overall world and like the work that the mangaka the actual creators put into like the story, that like I'm still very much invested in it even after like such a lackluster season. I will be reading the manga from now on. If this studio comes back for season 3, I will be skipping it. I won't be watching it again. Like, I have no patience for series that don't have good animation. Like, if it doesn't look great, like I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna read the manga. So um, yeah, I will be reading the manga, and I will be giving my thoughts on that soon. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get to the point where like I'm ahead of season 2, so I can get to the new material. But like, I will be getting through it like probably after I finish Baki. So when that happens, I will see you all next time.